Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Marketers of the Universe podcast. Today we have our fan favorite, Michele Raffaelli, back. Michele is one of our paid media managers here at Brew Digital. He is full of brilliant hot takes and terrible anecdotes, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun. But for now, let's get on with the podcast and let's find out what Michele has to say. With me, as usual, is my co-host, Tom Innes. Tom will be leading the questions alongside myself as we talk to Michele about advanced LinkedIn strategies and how you can make the most of LinkedIn ads in B2B. I'll leave it to Tom to introduce himself and to kind of kick off the questions. Over to you, Tom.
Great. Thank you, Hayden. Haven't changed, unfortunately. I am still Tom Innes, the content marketing manager here at Brew Digital. It is lovely to be back talking about LinkedIn, which still continues to blow my mind, to be honest, because I remember like 10, 15 years ago thinking, why does anybody care about LinkedIn? Why has Microsoft bought LinkedIn? And now here we are talking about it as like a primary channel for B2B marketing. So we all know it. We all have opinions about it. So we're not going to talk dramatically about the sort of like fundamentals of LinkedIn. I want to talk a lot about advanced LinkedIn strategies to try and elevate our marketing game beyond the let's have some thought leadership posts. So, Michele, before we grill you, do you want to give a quick 20-second introduction to yourself and why you are qualified to talk about this?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me today. My name is Michele. I work as paid media manager at Brew Digital, and I think I'm the most qualified person because you invited me, so you must think I'm qualified. Apart from that, I do have some years of experience, almost 5 years now in B2B specifically, B2B marketing, and more than 10 around digital marketing overall. I want to use the experience that I made firsthand to share with you and people that are listening now to try to improve what we do. Because if you're listening to this podcast, you must like something about marketing. And that's where we all meet together.
That's very altruistic. So let's jump straight in. What is the single biggest and most common mistake you see experienced B2B marketers making on LinkedIn today?
I had to think about it. There are a lot that I'd like to mention, but the most recent that I've experienced and I've seen happening more and more is people don't give enough time to the campaigns. They run a campaign and the day after are asking you, how's the campaign performing? I'm like, this is not e-commerce. You can't have results overnight. You need to give the campaign their time. So for me, what I'm seeing recently, the most common mistake is to not have the patience to let the campaign do their job.
How do you manage that when someone's also saying, oh, we've spent X amount already, that's quite scary, there's no results? How do you allow them to have that trust to let it run?
There are different KPIs that can show initial performances. We call them internally soft KPIs. We can show that what we are doing is tickling the right type of audience. So it shows early stage of positive results. But if we have to be honest, we only want conversion and leads. So telling them that people are engaging with a creative, it's not the objective of the campaign. But the engagement that we can see at early stages in the first week or 2 weeks at least this always is also linked to budgets, but I could only choose one mistake, so I won't talk about budgets. They decided to work with you. They need to trust you, and you have a certain amount of data that you can use to, let's say, gain some time until your strategy will kick off.
How much time do you need to allow? And like, does that vary between platforms? So would it be different for people who are traditionally using Google Ads? Would they expect different lead times to LinkedIn?
So if you break down the strategy that you have in the most simplified way of the 3 steps journey, so the awareness, consideration, and conversion. I know there are new modern journey that can be 17 or 47 steps, but just for the sake of the example, let's keep it to the 3 steps. Based on where you are at the awareness, consideration, or conversion, matches with different type of KPIs. So the algorithm and the best practice declared by each platform, they require at least 4 weeks, 30 days time running campaign with a not limited budget in the campaign. The other option to speed up this learning process would be to reach immediately up to 30 conversions. 30 conversion is the bare minimum where the algorithm of each platform that we work with can understand what's going on and then craft the bidding through your objective. The other requirement would be to reach a certain amount of users. Between 10,000 and 30,000 impressions is something that gives enough data to the algorithm to understand the people I'm reaching, they engage properly, and yes, we can build our campaign with that. So or conversions or impressions within the 30 days with the right budget.
I kind of want to lead on with a very similar question, Tom, if that's okay.
Of course.
And I say this because the amount of times I've gone into an ad campaign and seen LinkedIn expansion audience network clicked when it shouldn't have been. Is there anything that you can spot immediately when you go into a new client's LinkedIn ad account that makes you go, these guys need help?
There are red flags. Now, the size of the audience based on the objective that they decided. If you want, I've seen some cases where the pre-existing campaign before us were set for a conversion objective, and they had 8 million people in their audience. Now, if you consider the average cost of a CPC, of a cost per click on LinkedIn, if you want to reach 8 million people in any country, it's going to cost you loads of money. And there's only 1 or 2 companies that have that type of budget, and they don't come and ask for help to digital marketing agencies.
Yeah. If you have to ask, am I that company who has that budget? You're not that company who has that budget.
Yeah. So align the size with your budget of the audience based on the objective you choose. That's one of the initial red flags. Then, as you mentioned, the placement based on the recommendation from the platform, and this is even LinkedIn who recommend it to check. You see that some of the placement that the platform uses are not performing. The best example I can make is with Google Ads. If you see that your ad is shown 50,000 times on Candy Crush, I can assure you that's not going to generate any conversion for you, especially if you're not selling a relevant product. If you're a game app, that's fine. But if you're selling softwares or solutions for your B2B business, you hardly find a client on the Candy Crush app. But that placement is easy. People need ads to get reward, to get more likes. So the engagement rate with those ads is fantastic because people have to watch all the video, and the click-through rate is very good because such small placement, when you try to close them, 50% of the times you click on the ad. So you will see average spend time watching the ad, click-through rate, engagement is the best performing. But the placement monitoring is another thing that people underestimate.
There's an ABM campaign there somewhere where you have to find out that so-and-so company has an internal Candy Crush league. So you geo-target around their offices only using Candy Crush. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Tom, I'm going to let you move on to the next question.
I mean, not being funny, but any company that could tell you that, it would be LinkedIn, because both are now owned by Microsoft. How crazy is that? So I think there's so many different directions that we could take this, but you wanted to talk about bidding and budgets before. How do you balance optimizing for clicks versus optimizing for those high value, high quality leads? And how do you, I suppose, stop companies using those horrible dark tactics of tiny little crosses on adverts? Because they can't be generating any actual value for the company, right?
It's very hard to measure. They may do. There is no. It's very difficult for the attribution models to understand how, even the data-driven one, how much watching or seeing one of these ads will, in the long term, affect your decision. What you can do is optimize your KPIs based on, again, we go back to talking about the funnel. If I'm in the awareness phase, is not necessarily click that I'm looking for. If it's in the conversion phase, having huge impressions and reach, it's not really what we want to do. So based on where we are, we need to decide which are the 2, maximum 3 KPIs that can affect the performances. Now, if we are in the conversion and we have elevated CPC, that's not necessarily bad. So we are reaching people in our selected audience that may be ready to convert. So we are not happy, but we can accept paying £15, even £50 for a click. When then we know that the conversion rate will cover all these costs within one sale. Now, it's simple math. If my product or the service that I'm selling costs £50 and my CPC is 68, you can see how it's a loss. So there's not much to consider about it. You need to find a way to reduce it. Now, there are different actions you can take to bring it down. But again, these won't happen overnight. It's a series of optimization that will require time to bring it down. We need to consider for this also seasonality. Oh, a client said, why my CPC is so high in November? And then you made them realize, well, it's Cyber Month. You have absolutely everyone spending money, bidding, increasing bids in every placement possible because they want to convert for Singles Day. And then they raise them because Black Friday is coming. So the market is naturally more competitive, and that's why your CPC grows. But I'm B2B. Doesn't make any difference. It's an auction. Every system based on an auction, and the more people at the auction, the higher the price can go. So you need to understand where you are based on how you analyze those clicks. But because we are talking about advanced strategies, one thing that we also need to mention is the customer lifetime. If we keep the example of the guy that spent £68 for a click selling a service that is worth £50, you would think, let's pause immediately the campaign. But you need to look at the whole scheme. So the clients that acquire for the £50 service, actually, they stay in my cycle for an average 2 years, and their lifetime value with us is £20,000. That's completely changed everything. If you see only the last click conversion, you would pause absolutely everything. But then if you consider the sacrifice that you made on that profit on the very click, and we are talking about clicks, not conversions, then what they bring, yes, they came for the £50 service, but because you are excellent, then they buy something else when they're in-house. And because you have good retention marketing in place, you won't spend any more digital more paid media money to acquire them. You just send an email, message, invite them to an event, and that's what brings them then spending more money. So it's a bigger vision than what we think. It's not the money I see on the platform that's the final results. It's a bigger view.
But like the point you touched on there about building that initial relationship with somebody and then having them through the life cycle is, I think, increasingly, well, it's always been the case that you kind of need to have that relationship with the audience. But I think controlling first party data is now pretty much vital, given that we are increasingly seeing that you're just renting audiences basically on these platforms and you are at their mercy. So how do you start to target those? Because audience targeting is pretty critical with any sort of paid ads. How do you move beyond the simple title and industry targeting and start to use your first party data or ABM lists effectively?
The exercise we try to do with the client is the reverse journey. So what's the solution you're providing? Oh, this is what we do. And then you start from the solution you have and you match it with who needs that solution. And then, oh, this is perfect for engineers. This is perfect for finance businesses. This is perfect for sports interests. So that gives you the first connection and you think, okay, we have this service that solves this solution. Who are the people that may interested to use it? And that's when you start, okay, we have these people, they are active user. How does it work? Are they the final user? Are they able to see it and purchase for them? Or do they belong to a type of company that has a longer process? If that's the case, we can directly reach to them, show them that 90% of the cases, when you do this, you will need this to solve this problem. They are aware, and you help them build their own business cases, go back to their upper management, request this tool, this service to improve their daily life, which goes into a board meeting that gets approved, budgets, and lots of discussion that can happen. And within 6 months, you may have an answer. So starting from the product side, let's say, and then move back. That's how we would start understanding the audience. There are solutions where, we are just new. We never launched this product. We think people can be interested. In that case, you may use a more broad approach. You can just identify macro businesses, macro area. Is this perfect for travel companies? Is this perfect for restaurants? So you just trim down to the industry level, get enough data to understand who is interested in this. If you see that 90% of chefs skip that ad, you understand that the solution you're providing, they're not even interested in it. They scroll immediately. So, okay, let's go a bit broader. Let's find supplier of the restaurant industry. You start seeing CTR increasing, you see dwell time increasing, then you understand that, okay, this product that we have, actually it's not the chef in the restaurant that is interested, but the supplier of that market. And that's how you adjust and move until you find the right audience.
Do you think there's value in using, obviously, when you're targeting the different kind of areas that you mentioned there, the options you've got is your own data or the platform's data? Is one better than the other, or do you need a mixture of both?
These would answer the question that Tom asked at the beginning, why Microsoft bought LinkedIn? Because of the data. So everything that we can access thanks to you. You are the one that gives all your information to the platform. I know absolutely everything. I just need to cross those data, and then I can identify exactly who you are and what to show you. Google is doing something similar. They now have available audiences where, especially in the US, I can target people based on the income. I can target people that got recently engaged, moved to a new job, moved house. So I have less granular power in Google or Meta or TikTok or the other platforms than I have on LinkedIn, if we are still talking about B2B. So since the announcement of the cookie apocalypse, where we thought overnight we lose all the cookies, we started applying and looking for different ways to acquire first-party data. Having those and feeding them into the platforms allow us to create lookalikes, to create segment, understand better who is the person that we want to reach. It's not always this simple because you need big volumes. A client recently, they are targeting Croatia and Greece. The physical amount of people, users that we can target there, it's not even comparable to what we can target when we go in United States or in UK. But that's physical limits. So in this case, there's no data on the platform that can help you. What we need to do is to find a different way to reach these people. And that's where you need to use other type of different channels. It can't be only paid media to reach them. So you will use more of the content team or the organic, trying to engage and find out who these people are and then combine the data. So in that case, they would become your first party data. You would acquire them and then you can use them for the good of your company. There are, I call them harvest company. I don't know if I invented it or if I heard it somewhere, which is companies that just spend the time harvesting data, creating poll and audiences, segmenting them, and then selling them to you. So this type of third-party data acquisition, we tested it. We didn't see immediate benefit. It is a bit more expensive because you are borrowing, you are renting these cookies and you use them for your purposes. But personally, in my experience with the client I used it with, it didn't bring the same results as trusting the platform data or nothing even close to the first party one.
Great, thank you. Just conscious of time, I'm going to push us forward to briefly talk about creative. So LinkedIn, love or hate it, it's a corporate platform. How do you get people to sort of look past that very corporate-y nature and stop and actually engage with a post?
You have different variation of ads that you can create. LinkedIn provide and keep expanding them. Only in 2025, they released a couple of new ad type. You do have a bouquet of solution that starts from the single ads, animated single image ads, GIFs. You have videos, you have document ads, you have carousels, you have message ads, you have conversational ads, you have article ads. So what you need to do if you don't have data telling you what works better, you need to test. So you can test the creative type against themselves. You can feed with different ad copies using the same creatives. You can use different ad types. What LinkedIn realized and changed recently is the structure of the account. So used to called campaign groups and then campaigns and ads. Now they are going to a more meta Google type of structure where you will have campaign, and within the campaign, you can have ad groups now. This means that where before to launch one of these different type of ads and creative, you would need to create a separate campaign. So one campaign could run only static images, for example. If you wanted to run alongside video, you would have need to create a different campaign. Now, creating two campaigns means you need two type of budgets, feeding them, and not necessarily these two campaigns can share learnings. Now that we go at campaign level, within the same campaign, the ad groups will work with same budgets, and these ad groups will be able to share the information and the data and deliver. The algorithm will know which type of creative delivers the best for you, and then we follow that. So to answer your question, it's a little bit of common sense, but it's mainly data. You need to see what resonates better with your audience and keep testing on improving one. LinkedIn recommends you to add 6 ad variation. If you don't have a good content writer like Tom Innis, you can use their AI provided solution. So you write your first ad, and then automatically LinkedIn says, "Oh, do you want me to create 5 different variations with these?" So you can have your 6 recommended one. And then you take these 6 after a week, 10 days, which one is the best performing? Which is the worst? This is the worst. Post the worst, get the best, duplicate it, and add a new variation. Could be text variation, could be CTA variation, could be creative variation. Just keep working through the best performing one.
If you don't have a good copywriter like myself, thank you, Michele, you can always reach out to Brew Digital and hire us rather than using AI.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug. I love a shameless plug. I think as well with LinkedIn and paid ad strategies is people can spot an ad a mile off, especially when we're now like people are creating very generic, pretty boring corporate ads, like you said. Look at your organic social content as well, see what's working there, use that data to inform you on what content is going to work, because the likelihood is if it's working well organically, it's going to work well through paid channels. I think as well on top of that is think about ways that you can present your message differently. It's really easy to just do the exact same thing that everyone else is doing, to just chuck the copy into AI, to put it onto a creative in Canva and create really substandard ads. But if you spend a little bit more time focusing on being creative and thinking differently, I feel like you can have a big impact that if you just ignore that and just go for the easiest option, you will miss.
So on the subject of thinking then, how do you feel about thought leadership, Michele? They seem to be becoming a common feature on LinkedIn, but do you advise clients to use thought leadership pieces, or is it just like a vanity play?
It's not a vanity play, I can assure you. It can sound like this, but the thought behind that ads is absolutely pure. It's you have your leaders, your company owner, your the spoken person of a company addressing directly to you. That's something that if we go back some time, you would need Steve Jobs to rent a theater and do his keynote speech before you could actually hear his voice. That's actually what's happening now. We just boost it a little, but it's the same type of message. So you would appreciate a Steve Jobs keynote when he's there explaining you what's, I don't know, the next 12 months plan of the company, what's the next product coming up. What they're doing with these leader ads is the same. So if it's created for that purpose, it's still original, because it's no one can write a leader telling him what to do. It goes against the thought of a leader. They have their message, they know what they are doing, and they just inform people. What we do with the ad is just to enhance the message and increase reach within people that are aligned with the message that we want to share. Of course, if I like everything else in marketing, if you don't think it will fail. And the problem nowadays, when you fail, you don't just fail, you create these backlash of negativity that can come back. So if I'm talking about, I know why you asked this question. It's all these newborn leader that they wake up 4:30 in the morning, go in the gym, run 15 miles, come back, prepare breakfast for the whole neighborhood, and then get a shower, and they are in the office by 8 o'clock before everyone arrives, clean and dust all the office, prepare the sales call, and reply all the messages, and by 9:15 they already made £2 million. And that's every day.
Has that not happened with you guys yet? I'm on like 3.5 million right now. I think Michele is fully right. Like, they're so important, thought leader ads at the moment. It is again about being authentic though. Like, we make the jokes about the influencers who are kind of saying they're having £2 million in their pocket by 9 a.m. and they've been up since 5 and they've had an ice bath. But actually, most of the time, people see through that crap. I think if you are a leader who has an authentic message and is being helpful and is being valuable to your community and your audience, you're much more likely to be impactful with thought leader ads. Ultimately, people buy from people, which is a cliche thing to say, but it just enhances that face and human element of a brand that is missing a lot of the time when it comes to normal ads.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to make that money because I'm not getting up at 5. I might still be up at 5. I'm not getting up at 5.
There you go. I wish I didn't have to get up at 5 these days. It's bleary-eyed carrying a toddler through from a cot.
Yeah, but she'll look after you in later life, Hayden. That's
Yeah.
you got to remember. Yeah, it's.
I'll save this podcast to make sure that she.
That's the prediction 2050.
It's the investment in your future, Hayden. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're coming towards the end of this podcast, but before we wrap up, Michele, is there anything that LinkedIn Ads has launched recently that has got you like really excited? As much as well, with as much excitement as you can have over like a LinkedIn feature, is there something that you feel is truly useful to B2B marketers?
I do have lots of excitement about actions that they've taken in the back end. So the way they restructure the account, the way that now it's simplified, duplicating ads and manipulating them, that's super exciting. I can assure you, if you work in paid media, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you want to do is go and play with LinkedIn because it's much, much better than used to be. I don't know what you mean for recent. I don't know what's happened so recently to answer your.
I like what I quite like what you said there. Anyway, I feel like there's also the challenge of going into Google Ads and it looks exactly the same as it has for the last 10 years, but they've moved things around by 5 centimeters and changed the name. At least LinkedIn are making like proper changes to the back end. And then if you talk about Meta, no one can actually get into Meta because of their annoying 2-factor authentication. So God knows what's happening in there. I think one thing as well, I don't know if you've tried this with any of your clients, Michele, but the revenue attribution report and CAPI, have you had any thoughts on those kind of new tools that, not that new, but newish tools that LinkedIn are rolling out?
I do, but I signed an NDA with the client and I'm not allowed to talk about it.
But it's all good, right? It's all good.
Sorry, no, I don't have enough data to say it. The idea behind it is fantastic, but we don't really, I haven't really proved it, so I don't know. I know the idea is great, but I don't have enough data to say, yes, it's working or not. Sorry.
No, I kind of set you up for that 'cause I probably should have thought about that.
Sorry, sir, I have an answer. Not for the revenue, but one thing that they started doing recently is the AI overview. So there is a panel of recommendation that analyze your performances. They tells you the audience penetration performances and your audience engagement. They can tell you if your CPC is within the benchmark, within your account, and with companies in the same market. Those type of insight are fairly new, and I found them very useful.
Perfect. Okay, so finally, one piece, and just one, of actionable advice that you would give to a B2B marketer who feels that they've hit a performance plateau with their LinkedIn ads.
Cold brew.
We've been marketers of the universe. Thank you so much.
Come on, you can do better than that.
Can't do better than Brew, but
Yeah, no. Brew are fantastic.
Can you repeat the question, please?
what is your one bit of advice that you would give to a B2B marketer who feels like they are starting to plateau?
Or buy only one. They may want more than one.
Do you want 3?
No. The problem is,
You want
first
2?
thing, give time to your campaigns, but at the same time, be careful to giving them too much time because you may be wasting money. So you need to find the right balance. The thing is, you talk about plateau, so reaching this stagnating phase, the fatigue, as they call it. So you need to find your own balance on how to look after your campaigns. You can't over-medicate them. If you make too many changes within a day, you won't be able to understand what's working. If you wait too much to do changes, you will waste money. It's up to you to try to find the right timing for those, but keep looking at it. And this may sound unique, but do trust your LinkedIn rep. They are actually very good and they are there to help you. So listen to their recommendation and suggestions and call us if you want to know more.
So that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much, Michele, for taking the time to talk to us. I think you have demonstrated why we view you as the expert in this area. And if you want to find some more of Michele's thoughts on paid marketing, he has recently written some blogs for the Resource Hub as well, which you can find at brewdigital.com/resources. I'm going to hand over to Hayden to read us out.
Outro. Time for an outro. That is, as Tom has already said, all we've got time for today. So thank you so much for getting this far through your listen. We hope you found some useful snippets. There's definitely a few things that Michele said today that I'm going to go and give to some of my clients. We love that you've made it this far through the listen. We love making this content, and we would love it too if you could recommend the show to one friend or colleague that you think would enjoy listening. Thank you as always to the Brew team, Michele and Tom today. For now though, that is all we've got time for. I've been Hayden, that's Tom, and we've been the Marketers of the Universe.